Welcome back. Sorry, I have been MIA. If you are new here, my name is Rachel Gonzalez. I am a recovering perfectionist, just trying to become more like Jesus and live in God's perfect will for my life. It's been a crazy 2 weeks, y'all, and I am so devastated that last week was my first week this year not recording a video, even though my goal was to record every week. Um, but because I'm a recovering perfectionist, I am not going to let that hold me back. I will say that this week I was like, you know what? I already didn't do it last week, so I might as well just give up and I'm not going to record any more videos. So, I am back this week and I am going to continue trying. I think I need to readjust my goal, but that's for another day. Um, I just, last week was really hard. And so today I'm going to give kind of a little bit of a life update. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about just being in a season of waiting, because that is where our family is right now. I know I talk about this a lot on the videos, just where we're at with like waiting for the house to sell. And right now I'm just like kind of waiting for the end of the school year to come and stuff. And like basically feel like I'm like waiting for the next chapter of my life, essentially. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and just start with a life update. So um, last week or 2 weeks ago, I found out, my administration team and I found out that one of our assistant principals was being moved from our campus to the high school. And this assistant principal happened to be our testing coordinator. And if you live in Texas, you will know that right now it is STAR testing season. And so, he was our testing coordinator and he was moved to the high school. So that responsibility has since fallen on me in addition to all of my other responsibilities and things that I'm supposed to be doing. So that was a big undertaking. Luckily, he had a lot of the stuff set up already for the reading test, which was 2 weeks ago, but we didn't really have anything in place for the math test, which was Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. Today's Thursday. I'm recording, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to post this video tonight or if I'll post it tomorrow, but today's Thursday. So Tuesday and Wednesday we were testing for math, and that was super stressful. So all last week I was trying to get ready with just making sure that we had the right kids, making sure that they had their accommodations correct, making sure that their language of testing was correct, and unfortunately a lot of that stuff was incorrect. So trying to get all of that set up and just ready to go for this week was a lot. On top of that, my family and I left last Friday afternoon for the beach. So in January, we went to an event at Franklin's Barbecue called Skip the Line, and it's a charity event for the Central Texas Food Bank, which is located in Austin. And so, if you've ever heard of Franklin's Barbecue, it's a really popular barbecue place in Austin where it's called Skip the Line because what people do is they will go and literally get to Franklin's Barbecue on Saturday at like 5 in the morning and tailgate and sit out there until they open, I think at like 8 a.m. And then they start taking orders. And then my husband and I have actually gone one time before to try to get in line, and we got there I think around like 8:30 in the morning, and then around 10 they were like, oh, we ran out of food, so we didn't even end up getting barbecue. So the line is like super long. It wraps around the entire block and stuff, and it truly is just the best barbecue. It's so delicious. But I always thought, oh, it's probably the best barbecue because they like people wait in line for hours and then they're starving by the time they eat it. But even with skipping the line and getting to go to this charity event, we still think it's just the best. So we went to that event in January. My husband decided to bid on a beach house that was in Port Aransas. And so during the live auction, he was bidding, and it was a 6-bedroom house. So we were like, okay, well, let's find, people to go with us and stuff. So we took my mother and father-in-law, my brother and sister-in-law and their kids, a family friend of ours, and then her brother and their kid also came as well. And so we left Friday afternoon. So that meant like Thursday night, we were packing. Friday we left all day. Saturday and Sunday we were at the beach. I brought our daughter back on Sunday by myself. We got back at 11 p.m. and my husband stayed with our two boys and my in-laws over there until Monday because we had it for 3 nights. So it was a really fun weekend. But on top of that, last week, my husband was also gone Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night because he had stuff to do with church. And then he had like a work event he had to go to. So it was a lot of just like me at the house, being after going to work all day where I'm like stressed out at work because I'm trying to get all this stuff ready for the STAR test, being here by myself at night, every night, and then I think I've talked about just like the pressure of going to the soccer practices. So then every Monday and Wednesday, I am cooking in the morning, breakfast, packing my kids' lunches, then also packing dinner for that night. And, that will come with us and have to be ready for that night because we're trying to be like in a season of not eating fast food. So, I'm packing these dinners and bringing them with us. And on top of that, I'm pumping milk for Ellie. So then, making sure that she has all the milk that she needs, making sure we've got the bottle warmer, making it just, it's a lot of things to do before I leave the house at 6:30 in the morning, so it's just been a really, really tough season. And I don't think that's bad. Like, as Emma's mom, for Mama would say, hard is not the same thing as bad. So, even though it's hard, it is not necessarily bad. We are enjoying watching our kids grow in their soccer ability. I am ready for soccer season to be over though. But at least they got out there and they tried it. And, JJ especially has really grown from like his first game until now. So it's been cool to see him kind of thriving and getting more into it. I think Brady has been less so, but they have their last games this weekend. So we'll see what they do. And so anyway, last week I had a really crazy week. My husband was gone. We went to the beach. So it's just been super busy. And I thought maybe, while we were at the beach, I might like film some stuff and put that up. I really wanted to kind of like show off the beach house because it was so nice. It was 3 levels. It had an elevator. It had 6 bedrooms, 6.5 bathrooms. Like it was huge. A little, like kitchenette on every level, porches right on the beach kind of thing. So it was really nice. But more importantly, it was really nice to just get some rest. But while I was there, I also started to develop this, like drainage because right before we left from Austin, it started to like get rainy. And whenever the season starts to change and it starts to get really rainy, I will get kind of like allergy symptoms. So that started happening right before we went to the beach. And then while we were there, it was super humid and just like the air was really wet. And so that like kind of made it worse. So by the time that I got back on Sunday, I was sick. Still had to go to work on Monday because I had so much to do to get ready for the test. Also to do like end of year stuff, closing out and things like that. So I started to get sick. So then, now I'm starting to feel better and I figured tonight would be a good night to record. Check this off my list of things to do. But then it also was on my heart to just talk because I feel like somebody just needs to hear about the season of waiting. Okay. This is not the first season of waiting I have been in. This actually would be, I would consider one of my easier seasons of waiting. Even though I'm not on the other side of it yet. I don't know what it's going to turn out to be like. So maybe in a couple months from now, I won't feel the same way. But today it feels easier than it has been historically. So my most excruciating season of waiting was when I was waiting for my husband to propose because I knew pretty instantly, probably like 6-7 months in, that I wanted to marry him. He is 6 years older than me, so I was hoping that he would also be ready, pretty quickly to want to get married. But he was kind of more like, like we'll date for a couple of years, be engaged for a little while, like he just wasn't really in a rush. And I'm a planner. So, like once I was like, okay, this is it. Like, what are we waiting for? I was ready for him to just do it. And obviously, one of my things is with being a perfectionist, I am a control freak. And so I wanted to be the one in control. I wanted to say, like, this is how you should propose. This is where you should propose. This is what you should, I wanted to be able to be in charge of all that, while simultaneously wanting to be surprised. So sorry, Jose. I really love you for sticking it out because I know that I was, a little crazy. I still am. But anyway, I had that season of waiting and it was very difficult. And that was more toward the beginning of my walk with Jesus. And so I didn't have the faith that I have now. I didn't have the same trials that I have had now to really guide me through that. So I was anxious. I was worried. I was fearful. I was, all of the things. And so that was a really hard season of waiting. Other seasons of waiting would be like when we experienced our miscarriages, waiting to have another child after we had JJ. Very difficult season. After Cooper passed, it was very difficult for me to wait to get pregnant again because all I wanted to do was be pregnant and have another baby. And so, that was really practiced patience when I said, okay, this happened. I want to give my body time to heal. I wanted to run that marathon, so I really had to force myself to wait through that. And obviously on the other side of that, we know that we have Eleanor now and we're very blessed for that. And so I do believe that God has, just rewarded our faith and patience tenfold with that. And so that I think is what has brought me to this season of waiting with such faith and hope that like, God is just going to bring us through it and it's going to be for his glory, And so, just to recap, in case you did not watch my other videos, but we bought a house in December because we are planning to move to another city to be closer to my husband's job, to be closer to now a homeschool co-op that we're going to be joining in the fall, to be closer to just people in general, to live in a neighborhood because we currently live in the country. And so we decided in December that we would buy the house because the market was down and we got a really good deal on the house that we bought. Thinking that at the beginning of the year, we would list our current house and once rates dropped, we would find a buyer and, we would sell, hopefully making a profit off of this house. Well, the house has been on the market for 4 months and we've had, I think, like 3 showings and no bites. Okay. So obviously that is very nerve-wracking because even though I knew it could be a long time, 5, 6, 7 months before we got an offer, being in the actual position where we are paying 2 mortgages and we are under financial strain. And this week I put in my resignation at my job. It's hard to be patient for that. And I know that people are probably thinking like, wow, you're crazy to have quit your job when you're paying 2 mortgages and you haven't sold your house yet. And I understand because I also think that's crazy. But one of the things about education is that, like my husband said, he goes, well, if we sell the house in September or October, you could just quit your job then. But I can't do that in education because one, I would never leave in the middle of the school year, leaving my administration, leaving the teachers, leaving the kids high and dry. Like I could never do that. The other thing is that my district, if you leave in the middle of the school year, they will basically pull your teaching certificate. And I think it's only for a year, but it's like, I don't even want to have to mess with that. I don't like, not saying that I'm going to go back to teaching next year, but who knows? I mean, what if I start homeschooling and it's awful and then I need to just like go back, So I don't even want to have that stress either. So that's where we are. We are in a season of waiting. We are waiting for our house to be sold so that we can move into our new home. And one of the reasons why we haven't started moving yet is because, one, we really want to enjoy this house. I mean, this home is our dream home. So we want to enjoy this house while we still have it. But also because we want it to be like full and look nice and kind of staged while we are trying to sell it. So like when people come for showings and stuff, then they can see it like full of furniture and what it would look like and stuff. So we're trying to keep everything here just for that aspect. Um Hopefully, like, if it doesn't sell until after the summer, then, we'll also get to like enjoy the pool and our outdoor space for one more summer before we move. So um you know, we'll see what happens. But prior to this week, also, I had interviewed for I had applied in March for the summer school principal position. So since March, like right after spring break, when I applied until just this week, I have been also in a season of waiting, figuring out what was going to happen for my summer because I applied to be the summer school principal and I was waiting to be interviewed. And then finally I was interviewed and it was about 2 weeks. And then I just found out this week that I did not receive the position. And so during that wait, there was a lot of like, well, what is the summer going to look like? And what am I going to be doing for this? And, am I even going to get an interview? Am I going to be so there was a season of waiting there. I was also kind of waiting to see if I got that position until I put in my resignation, just because I didn't want my resignation to affect my my chances of getting that job. Like I didn't want them to think like, oh, well, she's leaving the district, so she probably doesn't care about this, because I truly do care. And one of the reasons why I applied to be the summer school principal is because I do feel strongly about closing gaps for kids over the summer. And so I was hoping to get that position. I didn't receive it. So the day that I found out that I didn't receive it, I did put in my letter of resignation. So I was like waiting for that. And then it kind of a little bit felt like every day that I didn't put in my resignation, I was like going against the will of God. And, you know, I don't know, like he probably doesn't see it that way, but that's how it felt, because it was like he said, um, this is what you're going to do. Okay. I felt it in my life. I mean, and I can talk more about that in another video. I'm going to talk about like the whole way that I came to deciding to homeschool. But I just felt like I just needed to do it. I just needed to put in my resignation, but I didn't want that to affect. So then we were reading the Bible. We did a Bible study with some women, and one of the things that came up was like there are a lot of places in the Bible where God says, do this, and then it says at once these people did this, immediately they did this, right? And so I am having a little bit of guilt about the fact that I heard God speak and I didn't immediately act. So I don't know if that is wrong or right, or whatever, but at this point, like, I know that I am acting in faith. I know that I've heard the call from God to homeschool my children. I know that that is what is bringing me peace in this season. And so I'm just trying to live in that peace. Some days are easier than others, because when I pray through it, I can believe that God has a plan for our family, and it could be complete bankruptcy or it could be, prosper. Like, I don't know what is in store, but I do know that whatever God brings us to, he's going to bring us through it as well. So just having faith in that. You guys are along for the ride because you're watching it all play out in real time, as opposed to all of these things that I can tell you in hindsight, where I've seen God in my life, and all of that. Like right now, I'm like living through it. I'm living through waiting for God to make the call on our house, make the call on what our life is going to look like as a homeschool family with one income. So stay tuned because it is stressful, but every day, it's just like starting the day with prayer, ending the day with prayer, praying 65 million times throughout the day. Anytime that I feel any little bit of anxiety, I am praying. So, um, the Bible verse that came to mind today that I'm going to read to you from my Bible is actually Isaiah 60:22. And the verse that came to mind for me, what popped in was, when the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. And that is one version of the way that this is written. Obviously, there are many different ways that things are said in different versions of the Bible. And that is the one that popped into my mind because I just kept thinking, like, God knows the timing. God knows when these things are going to occur. So I don't feel like I have to worry about it because He already knows. He already knows what's going to happen to this house. He already knows what's going to happen in our lives, so I don't have to worry about it. And my worldly self and my anxious self, they do at times, but I keep reminding myself that God knows what is going to happen, and it's all going to work out the way it's supposed to in His will. My version here, so this is the She Reads Truth Bible, and so this is the CSB Christian Standard Bible. The way that it's written here, it says, I am the Lord, I will accomplish it quickly in its time. So that, to me, the way it's written here, when I read it that way, is that quick to me and quick to Him are two different things, right? To me, it would be like it's happening right now, but this says quickly in its time. So when the time comes, it will happen quickly, but right now is not the time. And so I am just trying to sit in that, believing God's will, believing that God, has the timing, has the execution all prepared, and I can go to sleep and rest easy on that. So just some encouragement for you if you are in a season of waiting. I have a lot of friends right now who are in a season of waiting for a baby, who have had heartbreak. And I just truly want to say that my heart goes out to you. I've been there multiple times. I am there right now in this season. It is not nearly as heartbreaking as waiting on a child after loss. Guarantee you that. So I feel prepared to be where I am right now, and I do feel blessed for the problems that I have. I wouldn't even really consider them problems. I would just consider them, just a season of waiting, and I feel blessed. So I am praying for my friends every single day, the ones who are in this season of waiting. And if you need prayer, please comment below. You can comment or message me at my Instagram, which is Perfect Imperfections. And I do have, an email address that I will put in the description if you would like to email me. I'm always, always here to listen. If you just want to talk about your season of waiting or anything else at all, always here. So thanks so much for watching this video. I will be praying for your season of waiting as I am praying for mine. I pray that you would pray for me and just still be praying for our house to sell. Thanks. See you next week.